Today I have a dude who's never going to be the life of the party. In fact, he's probably going to bring everybody else down. I'm talking, of course, about the Transformer Power of the Primes Wave 2 Deluxe class, Blackwing, who is renamed because of a duck. Stick around, we're going to discuss everything to do with this guy in the latest GotBot True review. Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. I'm your host, Dennis Moulton, aka GotBot. As always, I'm going to say please like, comment, share, and naturally subscribe. Stick with us here. Why not? Check me out everywhere. Have a look at Machinery of Man and the Everything Factor. And this is Blackwing, and he's well noted as basically making Dead End from the Stunticons look like, you know, a ray of sunshine. This guy is, and his partner, by the way, are noted for being real kind of downers to the party, which is sort of ironic because the toy is a pretty fantastic update. Yes, a lot of people, as I say that, are going to note and say, it's Air Raid, it's the Combiner Wars Air Raid mold. It is, with certain alterations and changes that kind of make it his own thing and a little bit more interesting. If you know that Air Raid mold, then you have an idea of how this guy is going to convert, but like I said, there are things a little bit different with him. He has a lot of paint on him. I absolutely love that. Right from the wings down to his toes. Literally. And everything sort of in between. The very kind of garish 90s look on him is gorgeous, it's beautiful, and it matches the character pretty fantastically, especially if you know his G1 toy. Anyway, without any further ado, let's head over to the table and take a closer look at this guy. Now, admittedly, one would probably expect this guy to not be very impressive. I mean, he's basically a retool of the Combiner Wars Air Raid mold, and of course his attitude is known for being a bring down to everybody around him. I mean, as I said, Decepticons avoid him, even Autobots avoid him on the battlefield. And this is also a case of a guy who was originally a Power Master now getting a whole bunch of gimmicks thrown in. But don't underestimate him. Yes, he's short-packed, and yes, he might not be a very prominent character, so you could be tempted to just skip him over, but you might be doing yourself a disservice because I actually find this guy pretty awesome for a bunch of reasons. We're going to go through them all. Let's start off with his box. And here we have a box. And I don't know if it's just me, but I feel like up right here where these thrusters are, it looks like eyes peeping out over his shoulder between his wings. Maybe it's just me, but I feel like they're peering deep into my soul. Nevertheless, the art is nice for Blackwing. And when we go to the back, of course, we have the product shots. And I like that his bio, even though it's one line, talks about how will the dark-minded Decepticon mercenary wield the power of the Primes. They managed to get the word dark in there somehow. It's a box. It is what it is. And of course, naturally, I would be remiss if I never pointed out the ever popular collector card. Again, that still looks like eyes peering into my soul between his wings on his back. It's really interesting too because he doesn't have those thrusters on the toy. This is the one for my Cronus. Kind of a cool ability. It allows him to power link with any Autobot to amplify their weaknesses, though I don't think any Autobots would want to link with this guy. He, of course, comes with his Prime armor. It's the hand piece. It's blue. You could always put a Titan Master or Prime Master there in the center, or, of course, you could, quite simply, put that piece back on. This is what sort of allows him to still be a Power Master, because if you put a Prime Master in there, well, it sort of powers him up. So it's a nice nod, I guess, to being a Power Master. We also have two of these. And they're, you know, they're pretty cool. They're simple though. I mean, it's 2 blasters and they're molded very simple. I mean, it is what it is. They're nothing exciting. But you know what is exciting? The main event himself, Blackwing. Now I know what you're thinking. He's not very exciting, but before we get into why he is, let's show him off with his partner. This, of course, is Dreadwind. And when you put Dreadwind and Blackwing together, you get the superjet known as Dreadwing. Wow, a lot of names being thrown around there. They scale nicely, by the way, and they look great together, so taking him out of it. Paint apps for this guy. They're tremendous, really. Admittedly, he didn't really appear in the program. Well, kind of didn't appear in the program. In season 5, during I believe part 5 of 5 Faces of Darkness, there is one of those scenes where Optimus battles these guys, and I think he gets ready to battle them a second time after running them off once, and takes Tommy Kennedy with him. He should have just given Tommy Kennedy to these 2 guys. It was not exactly, you know, in an episode. It was just part of that kind of before and after introduction that season 5, if you can call it that, was. He appeared, of course, in the comic books. I think he's even appeared more modernly in some of the stories that have been done kind of currently. But I honestly think that this is a case where his most popularized and recognizable color scheme is actually from the toy. And this is brilliantly reminiscent of that. I have kind of meticulously sized this guy up in comparison to the original toy, and truth is, I think his paint's a 10. I think it's pretty much perfect. I don't feel a need to touch up anything on him. The articulation, well, when he's a leg, because this guy can of course be a combiner, when he's a leg, he's a fine leg, I guess. When he's an arm, he's actually a pretty great arm. When he's a jet, he's pretty cool. And when he combines, yeah, it works. It's fine. It's nothing wrong with it. There's a slight tolerance issue. We'll get into that in a bit. And in robot mode, well, in robot mode, there's a lot of versatility here. First, in terms of his accessories, the little blasters, they can go either in his hand, naturally, or they can go in 5mm slots on his forearms and fit pretty snugly. You know, that looks cool. His prime armor, again, that can go on his chest. We just flip down this little blue piece and there's a 5mm slot there. We take the peg that's on the prime armor and put it in there. Why am I struggling with this now? There we go. And, you know, it looks ridiculous, as they all do, but at least it's blue and cohesive, I suppose. It's taking that much back out of it and bringing this piece back up. The guy looks great, and his articulation so far is pretty good. By the way, before I finish it for robot mode here, I do want to note that the kind of, I guess, teal color on his shoulders is paint. The silver on his knees is paint. The teal on his toes, paint. On his face, that's paint. And the entire set of wings, I think that they're molded in blue plastic, and I think all of the yellow, the Decepticon symbol, the silver, the purple, everything, I think all of that is paint. It's fantastic. I don't think there's any of those foil stickers on this guy. And that's a welcome change to what we have been getting recently. Anyway, on to the articulation for robot mode. The head can go left and right. It can look way up because of the ball joint. It can't really look down. The arms, they can go technically all the way around. We have a bicep swivel. We have slightly over 90 degrees, like maybe 92 degrees at the elbow. The arms can go way out to the side. That's fantastic. Nothing at the wrist. We have a waist joint, so that's always welcome. The splits out to the side, not stellar, but you know, it could be worse, I'm sure. Forward, that's fine, and way back, that's cool. We have 90 degrees at the knee, and we have a thigh swivel, and that's really about it. The guy does pretty much everything that I'd want him to do. The only thing you could really ask for more would be maybe wrist swivel, but I'm kind of cool with what we have. I'm going to say it's a, you know, it's a solid 9 for sure for his articulation, maybe even a 9.5. Let's say I'm in a good mood and let's call it a 9.5. So we have a 9.5 and we have a 10. The guy's like a 9.75. He's a great figure so far. What about that transformation? Well, we're going to get into that now. We'll go to leg mode, and no, we'll go to arm mode, then leg mode, then plane mode, and then we'll show his combined mode with his partner. So how do we go to arm mode? Well, it's kind of like you would expect it to be, with a couple of little tweaks. One thing that I really want to note is that in all modes, there's a way to kind of orient yourself, and it has to do with the wings. The kind of added detail that's on the outside of the wing here should always be on the outside of the wing. In other words, for robot mode, facing outside is really facing forward where the robot is. For arm mode, it's going to mean facing, well, the other direction. So we begin by putting his legs together. And they tab together nicely. If you didn't already have these side tail fin things folded back, do so now. By the way, they do move and come out, but oddly, so do like these ones. I don't know why. I can't see a reason for it, but they can if you want them to. So put the legs together. We'll even say turn them at the waist. Why not? Then you want to bring the shoulders all the way up on this gray hinge, angle them out, and then turn the arm like that. This one also all the way up and turn the arm like that. We can just leave that at the moment. The head, turn it around, and then it comes back on a little section there. We unpeg the backpack. We have two little tabs up here that go, or two little slots up here in the blue that go on tabs right there on the gray. Turn that wing around, it's on a gray ball joint in there, and turn this wing around. Then angle the wing up, angle the wing up. And then you can close this up again. Now you'll notice you have blue tabs here, and I was wondering what those blue tabs were for. Well, you have a little slot right here on the arm, and that goes over the blue tab to lock it in place. There and there. Then, finally, oh, actually before we lock those in place, this is quirky. You need to leave the back out so that you can flip up the combiner peg. Otherwise it won't really come up because of this other little peg underneath. And we use that later on. Once you got the combiner peg out, now close this up. Bring that head down and tab these arms in. And boom, really in the end, there you have him in arm mode. I suppose, just to be fair, we'll put a hand in there. And this is what he looks like in arm mode. Same as all of these arms. I mean, the combiner peg gives you the outward movement. We have a double elbow because of his legs. We have his waist swivel, which is the bicep swivel of the arm. But it's a fine arm. There's absolutely nothing wrong with this, and it holds together nicely if you want to use him as a combiner, even though he wasn't a combiner. I think you can. I mean, maybe he's an option to go on Galvatronus. You know, we didn't really get anything. Well, I guess we did with Unite Warriors, but in North America, we didn't really get anything official for Galvatronus, so hey, he could be a nice addition to that, I suppose. What about his leg? Or as a leg, I should say. Well, we're going to do that next. So, As you would probably expect, you're going to have to collapse his legs. So we're going to turn this back around, and we're going to unpeg these arms for now and straighten them out. So the arms are just straightened out. We will kind of just pick all that up out of the way for now and combine our horse's legs, which of course means open them, collapse this hinge in here, and then close them up again. As we've done so many times with Combiner Wars. And Power of the Primes now. And so many others. That's become a real kind of go-to leg transformation. Which is fine. I mean, it collapses. It makes sense. Oh, before you collapse them, you might want to bring up the combiner peg the rest of the way. So we have the combiner peg up straight. We have the legs collapsed on the side. We're going to bring the shoulders down next on that gray hinge, and this time they come right down the side of the body. And we need to turn them again because now we have a little space right there that goes over this peg right here on the side. And that peg is sort of like the way it's molded there. It sort of doesn't feel like a peg, like it's sort of angled weird, so it almost just feels like part of the plane molding, or at least it does to me. Put those in on the side, and you would think now you just, you know, bring this up and fold this down. You don't. It's a little bit different the way that it was done here. So, what we have is this whole section can detach from the middle of the plane, and this whole section comes down flat on the, I guess the shin pieces. And you turn the wing pieces, do you turn the wing pieces up? No, you don't. You leave the wing pieces down. You do this. There you go. You just angle those wing pieces up. Now that you have this down, and it might help if you hold it there, you need to angle this forward so that now a different set of pegs go into these blue sections. Before we were using pegs that were a little bit lower, now we're using ones that are way up here on the nose cone section. You're going to definitely also want the face turned around, the head kind of pushed in as much as you can. Otherwise it doesn't really want to tab on. Even with that done, it's still a little tough to tab this on. There. That's what you have done. This is pretty much down straight. You angle this piece a bit and you bring the nose cone in because the nose cone is on a double hinge here. Once you have that done, you bring this wing forward, you bring this wing forward, and of course you would put a foot down here, and there he is in his leg mode. It's alright. I kind of wish that these wings like actually locked in somewhere, and I guess through here that's sort of an unsightly space, but it holds together fine. Like it's secure once it's all pegged in, and you know, you can bend the knee no problem and it will stay. It's a fine leg. Again, it's not really for me because I don't plan to combine him this way, but there's nothing wrong with it per se. So what about his plane mode? Well, we're halfway there really, because we have the legs collapsed and the arms down on the side. So going to plane mode is easy at this point. We open that out. We turn these around because you're going to want to have this detailing, of course, on the top of the plane. If you haven't already, you want to fold the combiner peg back down and kind of close up the legs again. If the arms come detached from the side, put those back in as well. Then we kind of straighten out this hinge. Bring it back. Oh, actually, you know what? I turned these wings around. I wasn't supposed to. My mistake. That's what I mean. Like the wings, they keep you oriented, but you gotta do it right. Sorry, the wings stayed back the way they were because you had to bring this piece down. So I'm gonna actually show that again, because I made kind of a boo-boo there. When he was in leg mode, I'll just bring that up, the wings were like this. And you're supposed to put them out straighten out to the side. Then bring this all the way down, and then bring the whole thing up. So you don't move the wings in this case, unless you want to get them out of the way to flip this up. Bring the whole thing up. Then, when you got the whole thing up, now you can angle those wings back down on the side. Assuming you want them down on the side, bring down that and bring down that. And finally, you angle the whole nose cone forward, and here you have him in jet mode. Now, like so many people, these two tail fins here on mine are warped. Unfortunately, they're not warped in two different directions. They're warped in the same direction. I haven't fixed them yet, but you know, a hairdryer will do it. But he looks great, cohesive in his play mode, and make sure that's on. If you want, you can have the wings up more. That's up to you, how you want that done. That leaves one more mode to put this guy in, and that's going to be his combined mode for going connected with Dreadwind to make Dreadwing. And it's pretty easy again to get there from here. You take this and flip it back. You bring the whole head section back. You open the whole thing up. Now you do need to flip around the wings, or so the instructions say. I mean, if you wanted to leave them and have the wings kind of swept back a lot, you could. There's nothing saying you can't, but going by the instructions, you're supposed to flip them up. Now, close this down again into place. Actually, before you close that down into place, you're going to want to flip out that little peg. That little peg is what's going to connect them. Now bring this back down into place. Bring this in the head down on the back, and that's him in his combined mode officially. Maybe angle that wing just a little bit. It's, you know, it's all right. Let's get his partner in his combined mode, and then we'll see them together. And here we have Dreadwind in his mode. Now, by rights, you're supposed to leave the shoulders still kind of up. You don't angle them back, but I still like them angled back, so I do it. The wings are not angled up. There's a hinge in there, and they angle up. I showed all that in episode 341. But you're supposed to leave them back here. And when it's all together, the slot that is used to put a foot into when he's in his combined mode is how you will connect him now. In terms of his blaster, it's supposed to go up on top, and you could even take the blasters of Blackwing and place them here on the sides. If I can slot them in there. And you could take the other one from Blackwing, and hopefully we can put that on the other side. I'm really struggling with getting this to peg in here. There! Holy moly. Okay, so you have that done, and then last but not least, you bring both of these guys together, take that head back, and in the end, there you have both of them combined into the mighty Dreadwing. It's, a lot of people have said, like, it's not a secure connection. No more, it's really not. I've seen attempts of placing the arms up on the side here. That works to varying degrees. I do find that if you bring the head forward and sort of sandwich it between the tail fins of Dreadwind, that helps somewhat. I've even found that bringing the purple wing pieces over a little bit helps somewhat, but that's definitely, results will vary. I mean, he holds together fine, and you know, but it could have been a little bit more secure. I think that the tolerance is slightly off there, just by a micrometer or two, and some people have this and it's really loose. I'd like to know if anybody has this combination and that is just nice and snug and fits exactly how it's intended to. That being said, some people like to have the wings swept back. I'm just going to do that now to show you that sort of alternate configuration, and you can decide for yourself if you like them that way or this way. And here you can see that combination. So it's up to you. It's sort of versatile that you can do all these things with it. I think it's cool that they made enough changes on Blackwing to kind of make the mold his own, and that he's as interesting to do things with and kind of fan mode stuff with to suit your tastes. I'm gonna say his transformation, all of it, it's a 10. The guy's a really strong figure as far as I'm concerned. I would say he's easily a 9.75, 9.85. It's a pretty close on a perfect combiner type of figure. Is it the most exciting? Well, no, because there is a lot here remolded, but for the things that are changed and the things that are done right, he does a lot of it really well. Or at least I think he does, and I'm glad now to have this traditionally Power Master duo here and together as one again. I dig it. I absolutely dig it. See, what did I tell you? He's great. He is a pretty fantastic arm. He has, you know, a weird, unnecessary hinge. He's a pretty good leg, even if looking kind of funky, but it's functional and it stays together nicely. More than I could say for some of those combiner limbs. With so much paint, it looks great. You may have to get used to how you orient the wings, but your goal is always to have these pieces facing, I guess, the main way that you need them facing. Here, of course, they're facing the front of the body. On the leg, they would face out to the side. As an arm, they would face back this way. And as a plane, of course, they need to be facing on the top. In fact, during the conversion scheme, I even kind of fiddled with those a little bit. Like I said, it takes a little bit of getting used to. As does the double hinge up here for his kind of cockpit section. There's certain ways that you move that. It's not hard. It's just realize there's a double hinge there and you may have to fiddle with it ever so slightly. But the tolerances feel good. The guy stays together in all modes. It's actually a pretty fantastic reuse, and there's enough remolded to make it interesting again. I think that this is a remold done right. Of course, that's only my opinion, and you know that I would love to hear yours. So, why not let me know what you think about this guy? Do you think it turned out successfully or not? And again, if you have any bright ideas about how to sort of solidify his combination with Dreadwind to make the kind of awesome plane mode of Dreadwing, then let me know. Again, I'm going to say thanks for giving me some of your very valuable time. Of course, hit that subscribe button again and stay with us here on the channel. And I very much look forward to the next time that you and I get together to have another visit right here inside the videos.